Hello everybody, welcome to Cornbelt Farming Simulator 17, map made by Caster. Well, we just had the first episode went by so quickly. It's a huge map to explore, and there wouldn't be enough time to totally do it justice, so coming in here a second time, maybe before I go too far, I need to set my timer so I know how long to bore people. 30 minutes. Ticking time bomb. So here we are just pulling up the map. The main farm is here, so we're kind of just going to take a little tootle on the road network, if you will. Kind of coming up here. There, for a large map, the road network really isn't all that extensive. Which I appreciate. You know, with a large map like this, you really could fill it so full of details that it would be very unwieldy, or you'd never figure out, you know, where to go. I've played some 4X maps before, you know, which are just a quarter of this size, and they're more European style. And so it's a lot tighter, the fields are smaller, and I tell you, I get lost on those. Here, I think the map author definitely tried to do justice to the wide open space that you would find kind of in the U.S.'s Midwest. And I realize this doesn't look like the Midwest in some respects. I know some of the modding that I did in here just to add a border was to surround it with mountains. So that's definitely not the Midwest. But what can I say? You know, actually right now we are going by kind of a large free area of grass right in here, if you will. There's kind of another one up in here and another one up top. There are a number of sheep that we have over here where that's pretty useful for cutting grass. And something I did that definitely wasn't Midwest is I use this area to harvest several grass seed crops, you know, which we have in my area. So kind of did a hodgepodge of things. But you see how large this is. You know, this field goes quite a ways back here. It just gives you an idea of the scope and scale of a 16x map. So a fair amount of time has been spent up here. The main store, when you purchase something, it happens right here. I don't buy things very often. I tend to be pretty minimalist when it comes to my machinery needs and requirements. So don't visit here very often except to retire the old and bring in the new, and some of it needs to be done about every season. This farm is big enough it wears it out. You know, there's no need to park here. We do own like field 61 and 60. Actually a fair number of them up here, so there is a lot of harvest that takes place. There's a storage location kind of down by the railroad where we can haul some of our crop, and we can haul it off to other storage where we can assemble it for ultimate delivery. I don't know if this is gonna let me. Oh boy. Yeah, this is kind of up in the snow here. Yeah. You know what? I don't think I want to go up there and get stuck. I'll just have to wait to show it up there. I think there's a biofuel location up there where we can take certain products. I've kept a little placeable barn over here. I think I modded it so that it holds way more than it should. But what can I say? I didn't want to have a bunch of them, so there's my trailer to take care of the sheep over there. And I don't know that I have any fields in the upper quadrant. Yeah, I really don't up in here. although I have several kind of to the south and west of where I'm sitting here. So fair amount of time is spent up here, and if it wasn't for this snow, I could take it up into the woods, but I've already shown the woods in the previous video, so no need going there. I think the slaughter plant, maybe I can get in there. Is the snowpack down? Yeah, it is good. Actually, the road is somewhat cleaned off. You know, when you put the seasons mod together, you can dictate where snow stays, and I think this lot up here, I really had to do a bunch of cleanup, some massive piles. I'm already in spring, but it's going to take a while for those to melt. But there's the slaughterhouse for hogs, maybe cattle. I think I brought primarily hogs up here. And then over here I put in a placeable. I believe this was that a whiskey distillery? So I need to bring barley, and those would be barrels, a stock of barrels to feed it. I'm not sure what all it takes. Maybe a little water, barley, and barrels. Haven't used it all that much. Just, you know, this is Farm Sim 17, which I realize is also an old game by now. I seem to be a vintage type person, but had just it was wonderfully designed. I personally think this was better designed than Farm Sim 19. It just made better sense, at least to my taste anyhow. So I'll kind of head back the other way. Like I say, there's a lot of farming that I do up in this area, or back when I use the map. We'll go by this long field kind of off to the left. There's a lot of grass that can be pulled out of there, really way more than the sheep need. I have more than enough to take care of even, I don't know how many sheep I have. Was it 1,000 sheep? Sheep. Looks like they need some water and some feed. Almost 1,500 sheep. So kind of a good little field in here. I know I've ripped it up a time or two and have added other crops in there. Kind of nice to have a free field to help get started. Like I say, when you start, I think you have field 49 and 50, and it seems like there was a third. I don't recall which one exactly, but I know 49 and 50. So we'll go here from east to west, and you see a river runs through it. There's a little bit of snow on there. Boy, that's not the best looking ice, I do admit. I was trying to put a plane in there, because you can have an object appear when the ground is frozen, so I wanted ice, and I got ice, but yeah, not the best effect. Like I say, and here now is maybe the smallest field that we own. Here it is, right out in this area. And most would probably agree on a standard farming sim map, that would be a decent sized field. Maybe even, I dare say, a large field. But on here, it's just, I mean, it's peanuts. You can barely see it in there, just tiny little thing tucked in there. I'm not even sure why I have it. I'm starting to sound kind of like a big farmer, if you will, that can't do a little field. But once upon a time, it's all I could afford. This, I believe, takes a trip down to the riverfront, and there's a road that goes along the river all the way down over into here. Well, I think there's a bridge that comes over into here. So it kind of goes along there. There are other ways of accessing it, so we won't go down there now. But that's where it heads, and you know, there's a lot of Farm Sim apps too that will have more than one town on it. This one here has more than one town area, but they're spread out more to where it makes a little more sense. So we're kind of heading to that now. Kind of a little valley in here, if you will, surrounded by these rocks, and not the largest fields, but they take a fair amount of time to deal with. Cool little tunnel here. And now we're kind of in the northwest section of the map, if you will. Don't really own a lot of ground up here, but I'm slowly adding to pieces. Really only own fields 7 and 8. And kind of curve around here. We'll get into this other town. I don't know if I can go... Well, maybe I'll try. It's probably something similar. Yeah, there's... Well, here we kind of have it smashed. Yeah, I just don't want to get him stuck. Back in there, I think there's another place to sell animals and to buy animals, kind of by the big red barn, if you will. And then over here, I think I have some factories, placeable factories. This one here makes particle board. One of them makes barrels. Maybe that's this one here. This one, I'm not 100% sure what it's doing. We got a few factories in there where, and it's a long haul. This practically becomes a trucking game, you know, when you're doing stuff here and have to haul it clear up to here. In some ways, it'd be nice to mod a train so that it could haul lumber type products. I don't know if anybody out there's made a flatbed. So here, this would take you onto interstate, which kind of comes out here and disappears. Or it's the off-ramp, if you will, I guess. It isn't exactly how it looks in real life, but it's definitely good enough for game purposes. Doing it in real life would have to dig out old Blender to make it. Then over here there'll be another road to get on the interstate to head back the other way, which we may take in a moment. There's oil wells in here, and all of this, you know, when the snow started falling, had a long winter in here, it just piled up, and I had to come over here with a tractor and blow it all off the road so I could easily move with the trucks. And, well, maybe I'll just drive in there real quick. Yep, just buy a bunch of pumps and the oil all accumulates. This is one of the locations where you get oil. You pick it up over here in the truck. And it's pretty cool the way someone modded it. I can't show you with this, but when you bring the truck over, it has a hose that will come out and it will attach right here. So it just kind of enhances a little bit of realism. Otherwise, it is pump and pump, and once it fills, I think to a certain point, it no longer there's no longer any other oil that goes in. So, especially in the early days, I tried to be pretty fastidious about how often I would check it, because it was free money basically coming out of the ground. And this over here, yeah, there's also an open area. I think this road, it just goes out here straight. It's general field access. There's another area. I think the rail line comes through here, so you can store in these bins over here or access fields. We'll just sneak over here. Oops, let me get rid of course play. The reason I keep hitting course play is so I can see my mouse. And this was another area where I blew a lot of snow. And so here's a collection point for the oil. It's really most efficient just to bring it here. You truck it in, and it looks like there's some in here. And when there's enough, you bring over a train, fill up the cars, and you haul it bulk. I think you can do it via truck too. I've just chosen to do it with a train. I think it's a whole lot easier. Yeah, in real life, this is a dirt road. This would be muddy as all get out. Never thought to... Whoop, I'm going to catch air. Yep. Never thought to install a mud mod. As you can see, I've had to do a lot of snow blowing here to keep this clear for the winter. So here's kind of another area. Oh, there's a few spring flowers. How about that? Another area where there's several pumps. This is a larger of the two areas where you can get the oil. And so there's a fair amount of time here. I come and check on it. I don't know how often. I don't know if it takes 6 hours to fill up of real time or just what it is. At least it isn't all the time. And some of them fill up at different rates. And you can tell exactly where I bring in my trucks. So, oh yeah, there is one other oil area. I don't know that I'll go down there. It's over here. Matter of fact, that's probably where my truck is sitting. So I got a route for the truck. He fills up here. He comes down over here to fill up. And I think he fills up full here. So he'll dump into the train. And then with one more load, he's able to fill up the remaining here, plus what was over there where we first went. So in 2 loads, you can pretty well run the circuit. So, I don't know, I've just kind of got into a habit of doing it. And the train track is running right to the right of us, kind of down in that gully. And maybe in a little bit, I'll go on a train and kind of just take everybody on a circuit so you can see there's five trains in this map. And one of them I added myself so I could haul some other product bulk to market that there was no other way to. So yeah, I can continue. This is a road along the river I was mentioning, and it goes both ways, eventually dead ending. Well, everything dead ends at the edge of the map. I think I'll just take this back maybe to the main farm and park it for the moment. You know, this is something I can't figure out. I'm going over the bridge, but it's laying down tracks even though I'm above the water level. But I know snow falls underwater. Oh, and speaking of the snow, the original map author chose to only put snow, I think, kind of on the hills, if you will. So, and specifically really only on part of the map. Here, maybe I'll just stop here. Really only in this area up here, as I recall, had snow. And I opted to just add it to the rest of the map. It took a ton of time to do it. But I know in the Midwest, if snow falls in one area, it's going to fall every area. It's pretty flat, so snow, when it rolls in, pretty well hits everybody. I had a fair amount of snow blowing to do here, just even on the home farm. Like I say, there's tons of storage here for lots of machinery and equipment, but I'm pretty minimalist. I don't even have a combine at the moment. Why don't I just park that here? And alright, this is one of the trains. You know, I wish I could figure out how to get rid of that green circle. There's no need for it to be there. Yeah, it goes, when I zoom in, it goes out there further, so it's a little less annoying. Yeah, it's trying to reflect what's in the field. But these were the trains in Farm Sim 17. This one here is the one I think I added. And we'll just take it on a route. It's, it can haul gas, I believe, or fuel to market it. And then bulk stuff. I think I've sold fertilizer, maybe. There's a fertilizer making plant that I both use on the farm and ship it to market. So we'll crank her up. This is probably where I should cue some good train music. I made the camera so you can zoom out really, really far. Yeah, I don't own the field right beside us, number 20. Go by the factory here, the storage area. Yeah, one of these makes seeds, one makes fertilizer, I don't remember which. And there's also a sawmill over there. I farm a number of the fields down here, and you can just tell by the scale. I mean, it's pretty large fields. I don't do the one against the river over here. Alright, I'm going full speed. So to put in a train, I mean, that was a bit of study of the existing trains to see what it would take to add a new one, but I also laid some new track, and it's going to turn off up here when it curves to the right. We'll be on new rail that when it curves to the right, maybe it goes all the way around, or maybe I'm on the wrong train. Maybe it does go all the way around. I just don't remember. That's right. I think it does a circuit. You know, it's hard to tell just what the circuit would be helpful if you could print it on the PDA, kind of where it is. But there's a double line here, and kind of going along the river. I'm going to be glad to get rid of the snow in here. I know we got some rain coming that'll take care of it. Let me just zoom in cab. I can't tell if I can hear the train whistle. There we go. I really like the train whistle in this version of the game. Sounds like it's echoing in a canyon somewhere. Except if you hold the horn down too long, then it just repeats. I'm trying to remember, yeah, this going up here takes you to the main farmyard. So that rail spur, there's storage on the main farm, which we'll go by here in a moment. It's certainly not hard to steer a train. You know, another change I've thought, if I keep playing this map, you'll notice all the trees have their leaves. And I'm not sure where he got them. I know in the Midwest, in the Cornbelt, you wouldn't have deciduous trees keeping their leaves in the winter. So, that's probably going to head right. Yep, continue on. So I may try to figure that out in FS17. This version of the Seasons mod made changes to all the objects in the map. I think later they did it with a shader, maybe in even Farm Sim 19. But in this version, they literally would uproot and swap out all these objects in the map so that they would have different textures depending on the time of year. You know, in autumn they'd have the golds and the reds and yellows, and then of course in the winter they would strip all the leaves off entirely. And I think these along here, I think these are the regular, well, maybe. I was thinking these deciduous trees here are the giant's trees, so I kind of think in the winter, and I remember we're in spring at the moment, but I think in winter these trees drop their leaves. But I don't remember exactly. Maybe I need to work on them too. Here's a quick little whoopee in the track. You'd never see that in real life. You'd have a lot of derailments. But luckily, we are guided by a spline. Kind of heading through this corridor of trees. It would be kind of cool to have a snowplow on this thing. I don't know that anybody ever did. I know some snowplows were developed, but I don't know. It's every time I've worked with one, it's been a little cumbersome, the plows. So I always use the snowblower. Here we're going by kind of the whiskey distillery over there, and the slaughterhouse, another whoopee in the track. Now we're kind of heading out to the north and east area of the map. Don't really farm out here. Just kind of snaking our way along. You know, up in this area somewhere, I seem to recall the map author chose where was it? I think just to the east of field number 53. I discovered once, oh, that's another incredibly tight turn, that kind of between that little fork just to the south and east of field 53, he put every single gold nugget that would appear on the map. Don't know why he chose to do that, other than maybe the intent was to focus on farming, not on messing about with gold nuggets. But maybe he just put them in there so you could find them all at once, earn your $1 million, and be done with it. Yeah, right in the area we just went under is kind of where he put all of them. They were just sitting up there, ripe for a plucking, for someone to find. Now we're kind of coming down out of the mountains. Another very tight S-curve you would never see in real life. By the way, if you see the variability in the snow and those patterns that are on the ground, the reason you see those is during harvest the past season, I have a hail damage mod installed, and in the middle of harvest we got a hailstorm. And so it trampled a lot of the crop and took it out, and I think you can still see evidence of that on the ground. And frankly, it about made me want to uninstall it. It was a royal pain harvesting. You know, it maybe some of you use the mod where, what is it, the AI extension, where you can have your combine harvest round and round. It'll try to do that, but I mean, you can see how weird, all these weird shapes in the field, you know, where the hail damaged it. It isn't really conducive for a decent harvest. So what I found is every single field had to be set up with its own course play, you know, which a lot of times took time. Course play, I've learned, especially loading these big maps, is very resource intensive. You know, I've timed it before, and it's probably just my computer. But it, oh, I should be slowing down, by the way. We're getting to town over here where this thing would be offloaded, although we don't have anything in it. But course play, I mean, it causes this map, I think, to take roughly 40 minutes of real time to even load. So, like I say, it's probably a combination of things. You know, I'm doing it on a laptop, and it doesn't have the most powerful engine in it. But it definitely costs resources. Here you can kind of see the mountains up close that I put in here, and yeah, they look pretty ugly. I just took them out of the Goldcrest map and jammed them in here and made them bigger. Oh, I should be trying to slow down. Yeah, those tanks over there is where you can offload fuel. I think you can deliver crop kind of over in here. And so, in putting everything everywhere I'm going now, somewhere in here there's a place to dump. You can't see it on account of the snow. Everywhere in here was existing lines, so I didn't have to add anything down here. There's another whole town. Got a rodent network here. You can see kind of where I've blown the snow out to kind of run trucks through here. I do farm this field down here. It's massive, so it takes a long time to do, and really the only track I ended up having to add was clear at the far end over here just to get this guy over the river to kind of complete the circuit. So we'll kind of just continue on here by this town, kind of a suburban area with some homes in there, if you will. I think there may be a gas station. I don't think there's any other areas in there where you can... Oh, I take that back. There is an area where you take meat. That's what it is. When you take your animals to the slaughterhouse, they turn into meat, and you can then deliver the meat via truck to a selling location in this town. And like I say, with everything so far apart, this really becomes a transportation game as much as it is a farming type game. And I know some people are very into trucks and trucking and do a lot of modding with trucks, serious mods, for example. And I know he's just done a lot of that even within Farming Simulator. But I don't know if he's spent any time on this map. I can't remember. But there's definitely ample opportunity if someone's interested in the transport of goods that you can do it on this map. So somewhere in here, Saved by the Bell. Yeah, here it is. I have a crossover track, and then I put in another bridge and brought it over the river here. I feel pretty proud about that. Trying to put it in. Trying to get all the elevations right and keep it looking decent, get all these rail pieces to tie together was, at least for me, no small feat. So, yeah, I couldn't even remember. For some reason, I thought when we were coming over here that it would just veer off to the left. Oh yeah, we even have those little arms come down when the train is crossing, so I had to figure that out, get it put in proper. I don't know if you can hear it, our dog is barking outside. So we're almost done with the loop, and then I'll let everybody go. And you know, I wish I could see everything from here. I know there's a factory over there, but the way the draw distances work in the game, it's more efficient if you're not able to see stuff from afar, and just to make you wait before it renders all of it. And oh, and here comes the biggest, hold your nose. The the trains run together. So I mean, if we were sitting in here, it's like, we're gonna run into it, and boom. It's probably what they had to do in order to make all this work. You know, if those were hard objects, I don't know how that'd work with a spline. So we are driving right through the other train. There's a little hitch in the line, kind of coming through the air. Or not in the line, rather the spline. It was set up for it. I think I screwed up right there and put a little whoopee in it. It shouldn't be there. Anyway, try to get it to a stop here. That's kind of a route on the train, and you're looking at the map, I guess we kind of covered the full eastern section. I suppose we could do another one. Another train would kind of cover the western portion, if you will. But we kind of drove over there, and given that it's kind of wide open space, I mean, honestly, there really isn't a whole lot to see anyhow. It's just fields and more farming. So, but anyway, thank you so much for coming along for the ride, and I will see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.